Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty ambitious. We want to try and crack the code on the kind of productivity that, well, let Alex Hormozi go from basically zero at 23 to, overseeing $100 million by 31?
Yeah, cumulative equity. It's a staggering number.
It really is. And our mission here isn't just, marveling at the growth. We want to quickly pull out the actual system he credits for it. Because all the sources agree. It wasn't some crazy 100-hour work week myth.
No, not at all. It's much more about strategy. Surgical, really. How he allocated his time. It's rooted in this idea he calls the maker versus manager schedule.
Which builds on Paul Graham's essay, right? From back in 2009.
Exactly. It's an adaptation kind of tailored for today's high-leverage entrepreneur. And he hammers home this point that honestly gets lost in all the hustle talk. Time. It's the only thing you truly can't get more of. It's non-renewable.
Right.
So if you want that Hormozi level outcome, you've got to stop seeing your calendar as just a list of tasks. You need to treat it like a high-yield investment portfolio.
I like that framing. An investment portfolio for your time. Okay, so we're basically dissecting these two totally clashing ways of structuring your day, the schedules that determine if you're actually building assets or just, shuffling priorities.
Yeah.
And this is really crucial for anyone who feels trapped in that whirlwind of, what did you call it? Reactive busyness.
Reactive busyness, that feeling at the end of the day where, you were busy, tons of emails, Slack messages, quick chats, but you didn't actually create anything lasting.
Yeah, that feeling. This framework is supposedly the way out of that churn.
Yeah.
Let's really unpack this. Let's define the two sides first. The manager's schedule.
Okay.
So picture your day, right? But it's like a super dense grid. It's this rigid structure broken down into these small chunks, maybe 15 minutes, maybe up to 90 minutes, but lots of them. Like 20 or more blocks stacked through the day.
Right. And this works for managers, think COOs, project leads, sales execs, because their actual output is coordinating things. Their leverage comes from interacting with people, gathering information, making sure everyone's aligned.
So their job is literally collecting intel, checking on metrics, giving the green light on stuff, unblocking their teams.
Exactly. It's all about communication and coordination. So for them, the calendar is the work. It's like a ledger.
And here's the key thing, right? For a manager using this schedule, an empty slot on that calendar is, well, it's bad news. It feels like a missed opportunity, a waste.
Totally. Their day often starts prepping for the first meeting and ends right after the last one. Their success kind of scales with how many effective syncs and coordinations they can handle.
Okay, so that's the manager. Now contrast that. The maker schedule. How is that different?
It's almost the polar opposite.
Right.
This is the world of the builders, the creators, the software developers, the writers, maybe the CEO when they're doing deep strategic work.
Yeah.
Like Hormozi scripting a sales funnel.
Right. The people actually making the core thing.
Precisely. And that kind of work, it fundamentally needs big protected chunks of time. We're talking like 4 to 6 hours for a single block. And you might only get 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 of these big blocks in a whole day.
So fewer blocks, but much bigger.
Much bigger. And the structure is different too. The start time might be fixed, say 8 a.m., but the end time, it's fluid. You ride the wave, you stay in that flow state until, the momentum fades or the task is done.
And the mindset about the calendar is flipped too, right? For the maker, seeing that big empty block on the calendar isn't laziness.
No, it's potential.
Yeah.
It's the launch pad. It's where the magic happens. When Hormozi was writing his books like $100 MAM offers or building those massive marketing funnels, those blocks were absolutely sacred, non-negotiable.
Because the payoff is different. It's not coordination. It's creating tangible assets, things that keep working for you.
Exactly. Compounding assets. That funnel keeps generating leads while you sleep. That video pulls in viewers for years. That code runs the business. That's the maker's leverage.
Okay, so this leads us to the big problem for so many people, especially entrepreneurs or leaders who have to wear both hats.
The hybrid role, yeah. It's a killer.
Because what happens? You default to the manager mode, right? Putting out fires, answering pings.
Always. The urgent drives out the important.
And you end up starving that crucial maker time. You hustle like crazy for, say, a year, and then you look back and realize you're stuck in that awful loop. Hormozi calls it the 6-12-month loop.
Yeah, where you've worked incredibly hard, full-time hours, maybe more, but there's zero net progress on the big game-changing projects. It's devastating.
Okay, so now we get to the core conflict. This is where it really gets messy, right? The collision.
Absolutely. This is the crux of it.
Yeah.
Managers need density on their calendar. Makers need empty space, that void.
So the manager sees an open slot on a maker's calendar, maybe a whole morning free. And they think,
Perfect. Let me just grab 15 minutes for this urgent thing. It seems totally harmless from their perspective. Quick sync.
but the impact, it's
Yeah.
completely different for the maker.
Wildly disproportionate. And Hormozi's math here is, well, ruthless. For the manager, okay, that 15-minute chat is maybe 130th of their working day. No big deal.
Yeah.
But for the maker,
Yeah.
that single interruption can just incinerate the entire 4-hour creative block. It forces this jarring context switch that's incredibly expensive mentally.
Okay, and he brings in psychology here. The Zygarnik effect. It's not just feeling annoyed, is it? There's a real cognitive cost.
Well, yeah, it's real. You can think of it like cognitive debt.
Mm-hmm.
The Zygarnik effect basically says our brains get fixated on unfinished tasks, on open loops.
Mm-hmm.
So when you yank someone out of deep work for an unexpected meeting, their brain doesn't just neatly file away the complex problem they were wrestling with. Nope, it hangs on to it.
Oh.
It keeps demanding mental bandwidth. So you get this leakage, this drain, both before the meeting, maybe some anxiety about having to quickly wrap up or switch gears, and after the meeting, trying to reconstruct where you were, getting back into the flow. It's exhausting.
So that quick 15-minute sync doesn't just cost 15 minutes. It could genuinely wipe out half the maker's productive output for the day because the cost of switching back and forth is so damn high.
Exactly. That's the trap, especially for the hybrid entrepreneur or leader. Hormozi talks about this with his early gym ownership.
Yeah.
He was stuck in full-time manager mode, answering every email instantly, constantly checking in with trainers.
Right, being available.
Yeah, being super responsive. But it capped his growth. He was physically tied to that one location because he never carved out the maker time needed to build systems, create marketing assets, things that could scale beyond his personal presence.
He couldn't build the leverage.
He couldn't. He realized, okay, until I build the stuff that make her work, I'm trapped right here, which explains his current policy.
Right.
He's famously ruthless with my time. Says no to 99% of requests. And the key insight there, especially if you're listening and thinking, I can't do that, is why. It's because actual achievements, building things that work, generate far more goodwill and opportunity in the long run than just, being available for endless chats or vague networking.
So the takeaway for the hybrid founder is the second you let that reactive manager default take over completely, you stop building the very assets that will eventually free you up.
Precisely. You cap your own potential.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. Hormozi is the big boss now, right? CEO, founder, $100 million operation. It's probably easier for him to be ruthless. What about someone, say, at a director level or a senior creative? How do they implement this without just looking like they're not a team player? There's a social cost, isn't there?
That's a totally fair challenge, and it highlights that this can't just be about individual willpower. It needs a more systemic approach. Hormozi's framework actually addresses this. It starts with, interestingly, arming managers.
Arming managers. How so?
It's about building empathy and efficiency together. Managers need to really get that 10x cost multiplier we talked about, internalize it.
Okay.
So the first step is for managers to become much more rigorous about why they need a synchronous meeting with a maker. Before hitting send on that calendar invite, they need to ask, is this truly urgent right now? Is the value of a real-time discussion high enough to justify blowing up a potential flow state?
Or could this be handled differently?
Exactly. Can this be done async? A well-written Slack message with clear context and action items. A quick Loom video explaining the issue. The aim should be shifting from constant ad hoc interruptions to maybe a single well-structured weekly sync for updates and roadblocks.
Setting a predictable cadence.
Yes. And crucially, the organization needs to support reframing the no. When a maker declines a non-urgent meeting request, it shouldn't be seen as ego or being difficult. It's math. They're protecting a high-leverage block.
So the focus shifts. Measure people on their actual output, the features shipped, the revenue generated, the problem solved, not just how quickly they respond to a ping.
Right. You can't promote based on inbox zero if you also want innovation. That's fundamental.
Okay, so that's arming the managers. What about empowering the makers? They have a role too, right?
Absolutely. Makers need to become, ruthless guardians of flow, as you said. But strategically, first, you have to own the narrative. Talk about this framework. Explain why mornings or whenever your peak creative time is are sacred. Normalize it.
Don't just disappear. Explain the system.
Exactly. And then batching. Be ruthless with batching. For all those non-urgent questions, requests, and updates, designate specific, known times when you are available. Say, I hold open office hours Tuesday and Friday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Or I clear my inbox after 2 p.m.
So people know when they can get you for the non-critical stuff.
Precisely. And maybe build in little 15-minute buffers between those slots too. Then communicate the expected lag. Put it in your Slack status, your email signature. Focused work block until 3 p.m. We'll respond to non-urgent messages after that.
Manage expectations proactively.
Yeah. It's not about being inaccessible. It's about being predictably accessible at the right times for the right things while protecting the deep work.
Okay, let's get tactical.
Yeah.
Hormozi talks about how this evolves, right? It's not like you flip a switch overnight. He has these 3 stages, the hat switches, because making the transition is often the hardest part.
Yeah, the transition is key. So V1, the bootstrap phase. This is the grind. Pure survival mode.
Sounds painful.
It is. Maker time basically only happens in the margins. Early mornings, late nights, weekends. Your main workday is just keeping the lights on, dealing with operations, bringing in cash. Hormozi lived this as a gym owner. Client sessions, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., then building marketing materials, nutrition plans, all that maker stuff from 5 p.m. till midnight.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's brutal. The cost is usually burnout, strained relationships, sheer exhaustion. But sometimes it's necessary early on.
Okay, so what's next after the bootstrap grind?
V2, the growth mode. This is where you start deliberately carving out space, aiming for maybe a 50-50 split. The key tactic here is protecting maker mornings at all costs and pushing manager tasks strictly into the afternoon.
Maker mornings, manager afternoons.
Yes, and this is where that planning backward technique becomes absolutely critical.
Planning backward. Explain that.
Okay, think about it. If you have a meeting scheduled for 9 a.m., what happens? Your brain starts kind of prepping for it, context switching, maybe around 8:30 a.m. You're unlikely to start anything really deep right before it.
Right, you get that meeting dread looming.
Exactly. That impending dread just eats into your maker capacity. But if you plan backward from the end of your day, say you stack all your necessary meetings starting at 3 p.m., running maybe till 5 p.m.
I see.
What does that do? It guarantees you a clean, pristine, uninterrupted window from, say, 8 a.m. right through to 3 p.m. The meetings aren't looming over your creative time. They actually signal the end of your successful creation block. That shift in structure is huge leverage.
That makes a ton of sense. Protect the morning block by pushing meetings to the end. Okay, so V1 bootstrap, V2 growth mode 50-50. What's V3?
V3, the empire builder stage. This is the aspiration. It's achieving that like 4.1 maker dominance. This is where Hormozi operates now.
4 parts maker, 1 part manager.
Essentially, yeah. In practice, it means entire days or multiple days are kept completely clear, pristine, for deep work making videos, high-level strategy, creating core assets. For him, Wednesdays through Fridays are often like that, completely empty.
Wow, whole day's clear.
And then Tuesday becomes the designated sync day. All the necessary synchronous meetings and check-ins get stacked ruthlessly into that one day. It's rare air, for sure, but it demonstrates the ultimate power of the leverage built through consistent maker work over time.
And looking at his current setup, it's kind of proof it works, right, for a $100 Ezimer plus operation.
It really is. Yeah. Think about it. Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, basically empty voids on the calendar reserved for recording content marathons or deep strategic thinking. And the total meeting load for the whole week, maybe 4 to 6 meetings, all batched surgically on a Tuesday.
4 to 6 meetings total for that size of business.
That's what he claims. That's the entire sync load. It just underscores the point.
Yeah.
Real output comes from the compounding assets you build, not from just showing up to meetings. Attendance culture is, frankly, a relic.
Okay, so this sounds great for an individual, maybe even Hormozi's core team, but how do you scale this? How does a whole organization adopt this without it falling apart? It needs to be systemic, right?
Absolutely. It has to be embedded in the culture, not just a personal hack for the motivated few.
So what are the tactics there?
A big one is the mandated quiet day or no meeting day. Acquisition.com apparently enforces this strictly on Wednesdays.
Did we?
Yeah, the timing is interesting. No internal meetings, no Slack noise, nothing for the makers, editors, engineers, content creators on Wednesdays. The thinking is it breaks up the week nicely. It caps the maximum time a maker has to wait between deep work blocks post-weekend. You're never more than 2 days away from another protected session. Keeps the flow state accessible.
Interesting. What else?
Auditing the calendar like a CFO. This needs to be relentless. Treating meeting time like a significant expense. because it is.
So constantly questioning recurring meetings.
Constantly. Ending every recurring meeting with the question, do we still need this weekly? Could it be bi-weekly, monthly? Could this update be an async Loom video or email? Apparently, Layla Hormozi is known for ruthlessly purging calendars, merging meetings, slashing anything that doesn't have a clear high ROI. Every recurring meeting is a persistent cost on the company P&L, both in time and opportunity.
Which brings us to the money, the financial side of this.
Right. You got to look at it two ways. There's the obvious payroll cost. Sure, a 1-hour meeting with 10 people might cost, what, $400, $500 in direct salary expense?
God, that adds up.
But for the kind of people likely listening to this, the real cost, the one that truly matters, is the opportunity cost.
Meaning, what didn't get built because of that meeting?
Exactly. If that quick sync pulled your head of product development out of flow state for half a day, the cost isn't just her hourly rate, it's the delay on launching that new feature that was projected to bring in $50,000 next quarter.
Oof, right.
Every single manager meeting that kills a Makers Focus block is actively delaying the creation of a compounding asset, the very things that give the business long-term leverage. The video, the sales script, the software update, the system.
So when you really embed this maker-manager language and framework across the whole company, what's the payoff?
It's pretty dramatic, actually. You tend to see boosted retention because people aren't burning out from constant context switching and reactive firefighting. You see higher quality work because deep work actually gets done. And ultimately, you see better capital returns, potentially 2x, 3x the output, because the focus shifts to building assets, not just having discussions.
Comes back to leverage.
Always.
Always.
For any leader, any entrepreneur, trusting your team and giving them space to make things, that scales your leverage infinitely. Trying to micromanage through constant meetings, that caps your company's potential right at the limit of your own personal bandwidth.
That really distills it perfectly. Hormozi's system, it's not about working more hours. It's about being far more conscious, far smarter about how those hours are allocated. It's prioritizing creation over mere coordination.
Yep. And his advice, if you're listening and feeling overwhelmed by this, start small. Just commit to 1 day a week with no meetings. Maybe a Wednesday, maybe a Friday. Pick one, protect it fiercely, and see what happens.
One protected day. Okay. And maybe here's the final thought, the provocation for you listening. Hormozi realized that the chaos, the overwhelm he felt early on, it didn't have a name. By giving it a name, maker versus manager, he could suddenly see the structure of the problem. He went from being a victim of his schedule to being the architect of his schedule because he could finally define the conflict.
That act of naming is powerful. Naming your own frustrations, whether it's the constant switching costs, the tyranny of the urgent, those draining open loops, that's often the first step to taking control.
Remember the difference. Managers orchestrate work, makers move the world forward.
Well said.
So if you're in that hybrid role right now, ask yourself, are you consciously choosing which hat to wear and when? Or are you just letting the urgent manager default drag you through the day? Look at your calendar for tomorrow. What's your first, most important, non-negotiable block going to be?